business has outperformed much larger cities. The true success indicator has been from the fans.
Well, it's boys' night out.
Hello and welcome to the club. I'm your host Mars, and this is the Upper 90 Club, a roundtable podcast where five friends discuss the Columbus Crew. On this episode, we review the Trillium Cup.
Yeah, we're playing Toronto. Trillium.
The Trillium Cup. We are gonna look ahead to the double away week. We have a game on Wednesday against Houston. We have a game next Saturday against Montreal. Return to France is what the note says for some reason. We'll let Ben explain that later.
I like the maps.
And then there's, and not to be discussed outside of this moment, but there's another away game after that. Lots of travel coming up.
How many miles do you think?
400. Okay. So
No, that's not what I wrote down.
No, 4,446. That's a lot of miles.
That's how you said that?
He map quested it.
I did. I spent a lot of time. I was like, how many miles? We're traveling all over the world.
How many things did you print out?
Wait, hold on. I bet you checked driving miles, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do like S2E27.
No, I know.
Why?
He's like, avoid freeways.
What did I do? I think I just wrote how many miles from there to there, but I think it was as the crow
gave
flies.
you driving directions.
I think it probably was driving directions.
Like the drunk crow flies.
Yeah. Mapquest.org.
It's also in kilometers because it'll be in.
I was so close to doing meters.
Okay. What else are we doing? Anything? We do want to. J Corb has second correct prediction, right? So we're
Nice.
getting close to another giveaway. We've got a supporter supply jersey.
Yeah,
Mellow yellow.
It's
Up
about
for
to be
grabs.
Yellowed.
Three correct predictions. We're going to give that jersey away. Compliments of supporter supply. Did you have to buy that one, Ben? Or was that?
Jury's still out.
Okay. All right. We'll figure it
Jersey's
out.
still out.
That's also true.
Man.
Man.
So good. It was so good. With me in the club, Ben, Mort, Trey, and Haas. Say hi, guys.
We
Hi,
Trillium.
Ew.
So home game, Toronto. I'm used to the ketchup and mustard game, but the ketchup turned.
Yeah.
That was
Some Miami
Different.
jealousy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of
No,
It's
I
like,
don't know. I think their season is so bad that it turned Pepto-Bismol. Well, they're Bismol.
Pepto-Abysmal.
Oh, that's grown worthy for sure. that one made me nauseous.
Don't turn on the podcast. We still have so much more to talk about.
Well, yeah, maybe if you're at the bottom of the East, you have to have a pink jersey. That's
Yeah.
and so they're trading Miami.
And now they officially are at the bottom.
Yes, they
There
are.
was too much going on with those jerseys.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so you guys, who was there?
I was.
Warren is racing.
And
his
I
Warren
hand.
is
was
raising
there.
his hand.
And Haas.
Got some fancy seats.
Yeah, it
I
was
saw
strange.
that.
Yep.
It was strange. I went to the top of the stairs and it was nobody.
Whoa.
No Justin and Ashley. I thought they would still be there.
Nope. But if you weren't there, they'd probably, if I go, House isn't there.
They don't care.
What are you guys talking about?
We're
You have
talking
a
about
rendezvous
friends
spot
that.
that's vacant.
Yes.
So they happen to
correct.
stay at the top of the section where I sit. So I usually, when I have got the kids down and we sit in our seat and then walk up, I always meet and we have a meet and greet and hug
There's
it
like
all
always
out and,
10 or 15 people that hang out. In that
Yeah.
place.
So you guys weren't together, but it was another sellout, right? It looked
Oh
like
yeah,
it
most
was
definitely.
yeah.
Yep.
11th Street.
And did Toronto show up, or
No.
No.
years
No.
past they
No.
used to roll
Yeah.
pretty deep, right?
Well,
There were
I
some
think
jerseys here and there.
there was just probably randos that lived close or something that didn't travel. I think some of that might have to do from the fact that they are awful.
yeah,
Yeah,
not worth
abysmal.
watching. Yeah, and I thought that wasn't Bob Bradley coaching that team?
Yeah.
Boy.
By the
I feel like
sun.
we even talked about it on here because I was like, I didn't know he was, and now he wasn't. It looked like some kind of Ron DeSantis looking.
I may
guy.
be recalling
Yeah.
this wrong though, but I
Maybe like
think he
actuary.
also had issues with Bernadeschi and Insigne. They're two big players.
All right,
They
so
had-
the
yeah.
two good players, he has a problem.
Yes.
That's always great.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Neither of them
those
liked
two
him,
players
so
had
they-
problems with each other. It's been hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah.
They fired him around late June.
Okay. All right. And they haven't won a game since then, right? We said they were on 9 straight, so now they're on 10.
10.
It's probably been about
Yeah,
that
the
long.
announcers were like, "Yeah, he's had enough time with the team now, so this will be a good like test." And it was just like destroyed. It's like, well, all
Yeah,
right.
I did the mute thing again, so I did not hear any of the commentation, but
It was Lloyd
Anyway.
Sam. I like Lloyd Sam a lot.
I was curious if the audio was trash during the live.
It was not.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
it
rewatch,
really wasn't
I
too
thought
bad.
my
The rewatch,
speakers
it's
had blown.
painful.
Yeah,
Halftime was
Okay.
horrendous when they just talked about Messi the entire time. But
that's what they do.
well, yeah. So before we jump in, I do want to just mention also last week we did a bunch of giveaways. Did we get all that sent out, Ben? Did we touch base with all those folks?
Yeah, I sent it. Everything except for the actual jersey because I had that shipped to me because I wanted to make sure it got to me, and then we gave them the extra goodies with it, all this stuff. But I know we did send out the stuff for who won the Leagues Cup one? Way. I sent
Yeah.
him like the most random stuff. I was like, he's gonna love it, and then he tweeted it out, and he's like, I don't know about this stuff. I was like, oh man, he has like Ants in My Eyes Johnson and like all
Sorry,
sorts
Way.
of weird stuff. Like a baseball card for Big Daddy Kane. I don't know. I thought it was a slam dunk. He was not impressed, and he did. He's like, I'm not. doing
Ben
this
had to
anymore.
take it off Facebook Marketplace and then send it.
At least it wasn't like 10
I'm trying to sell
hot
a
sauces
doorknob.
wrapped in duct tape.
Yeah, that's also true.
Okay, well, let's get into the game here, guys. I want to start with the lineups, Haas.
Yes, we did have some changes in the lineup. Cucho up top, Rossi and Ramirez behind him, Yeboah, Morris, Nagby, and Gressel across the middle, Amundsen, Camacho, and Morera in the back with Schulte in goal. So Zawadzki went to the bench. Camacho got his first start.
Yep.
And was that Rossi's first start?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, in place of, I guess, Matan.
Yes.
Matan
Yeah.
started one game against Cincy, and before that we had Lucas, who would have occupied that spot, right?
Yep.
correct.
Well, what did you think of that, guys? I mean, what did you think of Rossi and Camacho starting the game?
Yeah, I kind of want to start off by talking about Camacho. What everybody think compared to Zawa, because I was under the impression that there was no way we could ever replace Zawa the way he's been playing. Like Zawadzki has been like unplayable. Like he's done so well, and then we replaced him with Camacho. At the end of the first half, there was a stat where he was like 35 for 35 in passing, and he was being like, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, he's been doing really good. It's a he's so great." And I was like, I felt like a lot of his passes weren't like forward. They were just like easy. It was a lot of the stuff that I saw Deganek doing where he would stand on the ball or slow things down when Zawadzki would always like take it and try to split lines, and like it just seemed like it was snappier. Did anybody else?
I thought he looked good.
Yeah,
thought he
me
looked
too.
good.
Comfortable, and there were a lot of side to side passes, but rewatching it, I noted, I don't know, 3 or 4 line splitting passes that are the same style that we're used to seeing from Zawadzki.
'Cause I think in the
Yeah.
first 4 minutes though, he also had that issue where he misjudged that ball and Sapong almost scored.
Yes,
And I was like,
that was
well, I
his
just-
blemish.
yeah.
I
Besides that, I thought he
think-
played all right, but
Yeah, I thought it was,
Yeah.
first of all, it's Camacho Macho Man. That needs to be a song.
Oh, good
Macho
one.
Man.
That's a good one.
All right.
Yeah.
you're all about that. Previously, before we hopped on air, he was like, "I think this should be a chant." We were like, "That's it."
I can't take credit. This is Jesse. He has to take credit for that one. He keeps singing it during the game.
Credit.
Oh yeah, I give credit where credit's due. But hey, I thought he was solid. He also clearly have a lot of experience and leadership kind of skills.
Yeah,
So he was directing people around. He knows how to play, non-C ball, and I felt like he was solid. And then when it comes to Zava, I'm sure we'll talk about that later on too. He is needed he's needed on the bench for the fact 2 reasons. He is a midfielder. He's our only natural replacement for Nagby and Morris, and that's where he come in. And if he's needed in the back, he can come in there as well. So it's kind of the detriment for him for playing so well, but he is required for being a backup.
Well, it'll be interesting over the next few weeks to see if they transition him, kind of like play Camacho, play him, play Camacho, and then like bring him in as a sub, and then you're getting the benefit of maximizing playing time for him while allowing to bring in Camacho and like work him into the lineup versus just dropping Zawadzki. I mean, especially like with the Wednesday game coming up. That's one thing I was going to say before you guys were going on about it. Was it a tactical sub, or was it more of a, let's get everybody as much playing time as possible plus rest? And there really wasn't that big of a drop off. I think what Ben said was correct and important, that we played different, but I don't think it was bad.
I think he's the starter.
Yeah.
I truly believe that he's starting from here on out, as long as he's healthy.
I'd like the take on his versatility, though. I mean, that's a good point. He's super versatile. Zawadzki's super versatile, and so you don't have to pigeonhole him at the beginning of the game. You can kind of use him where you need him, and trust that he's gonna know the system and occupy a variety of spots that may need a sub throughout the game.
Yeah, I thought when he got subbed in, I was like, oh, they might be doing like a 3-5-2, taking off one of the strikers and having him play almost like a stopper in front, almost like a 4-4-2, and having both him, Nagby, and Morris in the midfield. And I was like, man, if those three are in the midfield clicking, oh boy, they got nothing. But was not to be. They took off Morris. I just thought it was, I just loved what Zawa has been doing, and it just like, I know he's probably not going to be the starter, but I'm like, man, I just loved what he brought. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you.
What about Rossi?
Yeah,
he had moments that looked good, but I think I was more frustrated in person watching it than I was rewatching it, but there were some times where he's just over dribbling, trying to do too much, and ends up losing the ball a few different times. But he's still pretty new to the team. I think there's a lot of excitement to come with him.
Yeah, I agree exactly with that. It wasn't a great performance by him. And you can almost sense it because he got subbed off and was kind of like started to kind of stand up because he comes off on our side, right? And I realized I'm the only one. I kind of get up my seat and I was like sitting down again. It's like, okay, I guess we're not doing that for him.
Oh, weird. I mean, he scored. He was in the right place.
He scored, but that was. You have to remember that was early on, and after that, I don't think he was very dangerous after that. And he was one of those ones that I have a note for later, like where we were very untidy.
Yeah, up front. I kind of chucked all that up to they just are still feeling each other out, like figuring out where to, like Cucho, and I'll get to this in the second half, but like Cucho is kind of the unsung hero, especially on second rewatch. That guy was everywhere. And the one thing I do like about Rossi that Zelarayan didn't do, and they pointed this out on the broadcast as well, he does press. That's like one of the things he does. He is constantly hustling. He's constantly running at people. And you did see that, especially towards like the middle end of the second half, where he was pressing so much they were kicking the ball like out of bounds. And like we wouldn't get that from Zelarayan. You know what I mean? That not that we necessarily needed that, but as far as like when we chose to press, he was an absolute asset. And that's the big difference, is that we just wouldn't see that from like a lot of the different strikers that are out there.
He's quick.
Well, he's quick.
He is quick. All right, so, I'm sure we'll get back to some of these points as we get into the game as well.
Yeah.
Well, let's do that. So, so getting in, you mentioned it. I think Mort said we scored kind of early, 21st minute.
Yeah.
What about the first 15, 20 minutes? What do you guys think? How we came out the gate?
I felt pretty dominating.
Yeah.
They had that scary moment. They had a couple scary moments throughout the game.
Yeah, Russell Rowe saved one pretty early. He came out, or he didn't save one, but he came out and blocked enough of the goal for their forward to miss the goal early on. They have like a chance coming over the top, I think.
I think it was 5th minute that Sapong almost scored.
Sapong, yeah.
Should have scored, honestly.
And they probably had a couple they should have scored, but if we're going to talk about should have scored, we should have scored many.
Yeah, I don't want to get that twisted. Like, we had 31 shots. It was like, I mean, at halftime, well, what's weird is like the graphic that came up at halftime on TV through Apple was our XG was 3.14. That's why I posted like pi for our XG. But I mean, from what I'm seeing on FOTMob and other stuff, it wasn't that high. But I mean, we had, is that a record? I know they were talking about the record for one player in shots was 12. And I think Cucho
tied it.
Cucho tied it. Okay, because he was like one away, and I don't think they mentioned it again. But I mean,
I didn't look at stats. I just watched the game.
Yeah, me too. I don't. I'm not a nerd.
Ramirez did not put one shot on frame.
No,
I would bet that he did not put one shot on frame.
He was very close though.
Yeah, a lot. But yeah, I agree. It doesn't count. I know that's like something I struggle with too.
It's a box. He was.
Yeah, but he's getting on the
close doesn't count.
He was getting on the end of Gressel's corner kicks. He was getting good pace on his headers. They were towards goal. We have no one else getting on the end of the corner kicks.
Coming from the guy who was one goal short of getting the prediction right, I would have liked to see a few more of those on frame because I don't know that the goalie would have stopped.
Yeah,
all of them or any of them. He I mean, I know we're just talking about the beginning of the game, and I'm just too excited about this point to hold back. It's like, come on, man, just put it on frame.
Yeah, we only had 8 shots on target, but we had 31 shots. Like,
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and Bernadeschi. How do you say that? Bernadeschi.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I was not real familiar with him. He's real good.
He's real good.
He was by far their biggest threat.
Yeah.
He was the only threat a lot of the times.
Yeah, they were just kicking it to him nonstop. Like that's all they were doing was trying to use him as an outlet. And it was ridiculous. Like they were bypassing people just to like try to get it to him. Like it was kind of it was kind of obnoxious. Yeah, and Insigne was just like hitting 50-yard balls to him the entire game, even if he wasn't open. It was kind of ridiculous, but
yeah,
whatever.
So we got our goal in the 21st. Haas, talk through that goal, and we can go through it.
So Toronto is trying to play out of pressure in their own half. Gressel applies pressure, and Aiden ends up winning the ball. He passes out to Gressel on the sideline, who plays a quick ball into Nagby. He drives forward towards the 18-yard box and lets loose a cannon.
Yeah.
Low driven shot, and the keeper saves it, but can't hold on to it. Rossi sneaks past 2 defenders and puts it in the net.
Yeah, great look from Nagby. I'm glad Rossi was there to mop it up.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice that we had another new goal scorer. I know eventually he was going to score, but that was my first thought. Is like now almost everybody on the team has scored. Like we just got a new guy, and he scores. Like matter of time. But I mean, it was a good, nice shot by Nagby. I mean, Nagby had another beast of a game. So
he had a beast of a game.
Right. Well, yeah, like I said, I mean, I feel like I just feel like we could have. Somebody said in the text thread, I think it was you, Ben, like we could have been 10-0 in this game.
It was insane.
This one just happened to get finished. What else? First half, I've got I don't know, was Michael Bradley a factor? We'd mentioned him earlier. No. Like I felt like he was just like I almost forgot he was on the team.
No, it was great because of course we had the booing, and I heard people said you can actually hear the chants and stuff on TV.
Oh, you absolutely
people said
could.
That, which is phenomenal. But there was a couple of times where he's booed and he like kicks a crappy ball or kicked it out of bounds once, I think, or something like that, and everybody's like cheering. It was great, and he was clearly affected too because he got into it
agreed.
with the crowd in the second half.
He did, I saw that.
Yeah, and
he like, I don't remember the quote exactly, but when the crew was going to leave Columbus, he said something to the tune of that some teams just aren't showing up like others.
Yeah, I've got the quote right here. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah.
All right, here you go. He said, "Me and Anthony Precor, we're super good friends. My favorite thing to do is kiss him on the mouth." And I think ever since we heard that, he like sided with Tony.
Yeah,
Pepe's.
we thought that we
didn't like him.
Not the quote. Yeah,
we thought he had. We thought he had.
Let me double check the quote. Nope, that is the quote.
Favoritism.
And they slithered away like a silly snake.
No, but so I remember that, and I just remember like just generally hating him. But did one of you mention before we started that like he was talking about how he saved the crew or something? Like he
did he? Oh, I don't know that.
Dispatch, there's a Dispatch article. I think Adam Jardy wrote it, and he makes some sort of comment about how his publicity helped save the crew.
So when he was
throw his
trash
shoulder
talking,
out and pat himself on the back.
Yeah, his trash talking drew enough attention to the team to save it.
What a
thank you for your
ding-dong.
service. Okay, but in the game he also sucked, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I just didn't see him do anything. And usually,
they had him at like
center back,
which I think is super bizarre, especially on the last goal. He just got smoked and was just jogging. Like,
oh yeah,
he does not care. Yeah, that's not really his position.
Yeah, and I feel like over the years, he's, as much as I've reviled him, he's always been a captain contributor kind of player for Toronto. So,
well, when Daddy's the coach, it's easy to get that captaincy.
But as I learned, that was not the case. He was only the coach recently, right?
Yeah.
In the U.S. for sure, the U.S. team. Okay, what else in the first half, guys?
Yeboah looked great.
Yeah.
He was up and down the field the entire game.
It was a little frustration there. It seems so many times we tried to look for Gressel, and you see Yeboah standing with both his hands in the air with like nobody within 20 yards of him and be like, give me the ball. Give me the ball. And I'm like, give him the ball. And then they pass it back, pass it over, pass it around. But I think that's actually a part of non-C ball sometimes. The fact that they don't want to push it, the obvious pass, and just go around. But he was open. And I wanted him to be used every time because he looked dangerous every time we get on the ball.
Yeah,
and his crosses, he had one cross that will probably come to at the end of the half here to Kucho. Wasn't that him with the cross to Kucho later on?
20th minute. It was right before the goal happened.
A rocket.
Well, and then there was another one to Ramirez too.
Yeah.
That was really good.
So now we have him. He's shown consistently that he can really cross the ball well. And now we brought on Gressel, that is supposedly one of the best crossers on the other side. So it has to be more coming from that. I mean, we still haven't seen any like a typical high cross finish header for a while. Right?
Yeah, I mean they're
in here.
The Nazi stuff usually is like take it to the line and bring it in, or like not these big.
It should have had one with Kucho, I think.
In balls to like headers and stuff like that, which is completely fine. I did see a couple times when Moreira did the overlap towards the end of the game, where like he played him down and through and in behind, which is awesome. But yeah, I still cannot get over Yao's like renaissance under Nazi. I can't do it. The amount of just absolute horse crap I talked about that guy last year. I'm like, how is he still a player? And now he's like messy. You know what I mean? Like it's just like insane. I was frustrated in this game. He did take the ball. He got himself in awesome positions. And he wasn't able to. I think he got blocked out of bounds probably 4 or 5 times. He was so close. Like this game was all about like, oh man, we were so close. But again, it's like, ended up
5 corner kicks in the first half, 5 in the second half.
Yeah.
Gressel, I mean, he's been great on the corner kicks.
Oh, yeah.
Great
they were awesome. Every single one was
taking those.
And I'm telling you what, this is one thing we have been missing. We're talking about, well, Zava has shown out that he can win the head ball, but Camacho looks dangerous too on the set piece situations as well.
Really? I didn't notice that.
Yeah, no,
He was getting forward on the corners.
He got forward there, and he had. I think he had one of those headers early on that went over.
He's not terribly tall. I mean, Toronto did bring in a guy who was like 8'10".
Yeah.
And like he won all the headers, and I was like,
Mabika.
Mabika
6'6".
He walked on the field. I'm like, who is this giraffe?
Oh no, he was warming up right in front of us. We were like,
Did you even see the game?
You know, we sit up the ball. He was like looking eye to us. Like, we were like,
It did make me think of our Thursday night game. Those two giant.
Yeah, those
tall
guys were insane.
Where I was like on them on the corner. It's like this guy doesn't even have to jump and he can win the ball over me.
Hey, shout out to Haas. Got a goal. Proud of you.
Yeah, he did.
In your
In our co-ed.
Pee Wee League. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. We are the oldest people in the league.
Yeah.
All right, like
By double.
yes.
And we're doing really well. And we're friends.
he's like 6'5". That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looked bigger. I guess everybody's so tiny.
What about the penalty, not a penalty thing in the box? I think it was like 38th minute. Trey.
Yeah, 1,000% not a penalty. Like they were talking about it hitting his arm and like the standard of it being like below the sleeve. And yeah, I went back and watched the replay, and it was like it practically hit his chest.
Yeah, no, that wasn't.
His
sleeve.
arm looked like it flailed a little.
It
but I don't
totally
think it
flailed,
was,
but it was like that didn't even touch his arm. What the are you talking about?
I think you guys probably didn't realize because you guys were there, but like on the broadcast, they were like, "That's a handball," and I was like, "Wait, what?" I didn't see that at all. And he's like, "No one's protesting. I think that's weird." And I'm like, "Hey, I don't know." Hit his chest.
Well, and then they made reference to like the standard of the call has to be below the sleeve of the arm.
That's the new rule, and I'm like,
they're
"What?"
just like,
I think at the game that was not.
air.
At the game, I don't think that was like
No,
a
they're just
factor
filling air
at all.
time.
okay.
No. Yeah,
They
no.
made a bigger deal out of it on the broadcast, and it was like that's not a. That's
not
not at all.
Did you guys notice the one broadcaster eventually like basically was talking with a fake Italian accent? He's talking about Bernadeschi and Insigne. He's just like putting that little little bit onto it.
I'm not a fan of people that are just like, yeah, it's like, yeah.
You're
Where
not
are
a
you
fan?
from?
Not
Minnesota?
talking French. No.
Yeah, no.
Minnesota.
I know. We're gonna get the pronunciation thing going. We just need to find a jingle. I think this is a good time to talk about.
Oh yeah,
we
thank
need
you.
people
Okay.
to come up and send us jingles, little jingle bands on in.
Yes.
So we need like
We don't
which ones do we need?
Fun.
Mars?
We need
Fun jingles.
we need a jingle for our most importantly for our predictions segment. We need a jingle for our for
The shootout.
with Chris DeVille.
Mm-hmm.
And a segment that we've not done yet is pronunciations, where we would just we would deliberate. I'm sure we would immediately get canceled, so don't spend a lot of time on that jingle.
That one may
because
not.
It'll be the last episode when we use it.
Yeah.
But
We're walking a real
just
fine
be
line.
our deliberation on pronunciation. This is such a bad idea. We definitely shouldn't do it. Don't send us a jingle for that.
Send us a jingle for it.
Yeah, do
Okay,
it.
so
But,
yeah,
yeah.
we need that. Otherwise, we're gonna just do them all to the tune of "Why Don't You Get a Job?" What was it?
We
Mark?
had the
The
Offspring
Offspring.
song.
Offspring. Yeah.
All right,
Maybe that'll be our thing.
why
We'll just
don't
do
you
all the
pronounce that
jingles the same,
correct?
with just with
Yeah.
different lyrics. I think that would actually be pretty funny.
Okay. Anything else in the first half, guys? We're gonna take a break.
Oh, we just look good. Just sloppy. We'll get back to that.
Let's do it.
Finishing.
We'll be right, Trap.
Hey, club. You know who rules? You do. You know what else rules? The new record by Takass entitled Deadfall. Recorded entirely in a hidden chamber beneath historic Crew Stadium during the 2020 MLS Cup, these devout Crew fans have birthed a thrash-to-piece. So you're thinking, okay, sweet, but what about those breakdowns and those halftimes? Hey, Ben, I drive an 18-wheeler truck in the desert. Do they have something for me? And for those club members who work in a snake factory and are looking for sweet licks to control those devil serpents, there's this. Lastly, you may be asking yourself, well, this is all great, but do they have an acoustic ballad? Nope. They're a thrash band. 1, 2, 3, go. So stream Takis, that's Takacs, on all your favorite streaming platforms. Hail Matan and go crew!
Okay, we're back. During the break, Haz, did you say Sands is back? He's already back?
The Sandman.
FotMob claims early September from his injury.
Well, I did see I saw some videos of him training and running around and stuff like that. So,
oh wow,
maybe. And, I mean, that's a pretty. What injury was that again? Like ACL,
like Charlotte
ACL.
Against Charlotte.
What's the prognosis?
Beginning
on
of this season?
Is prognosis right?
I thought he was done for the year, like for sure.
Yeah, and he has to go back in
like
training, and you don't want to play.
I thought he was done for the season.
He's left foot. He's on the left side. Yeah, I mean, Yao.
It's a miracle.
It's a Christmas miracle. Well, he's young. He's like 12. They heal fast.
I mean, maybe this is a good segue. We're going to talk about the second half. Man, I feel like we got some depth, guys. I'm feeling like
I have.
I mean, Sands coming back is great news, and I hope that he makes a speedy recovery. But one of my notes for the game was just how good I felt about the depth. We had some subs come in later, and we'll talk about those. But it's a very different conversation than when was it, mid-June or so, when we were just like counting the days to the trade window.
Yeah,
no center backs.
No center backs. Hell, we probably named an episode after it. Yeah. And now we're just begging to have Zawadzki back in the back line.
Can we put the midfielder back there?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk second half. What'd you guys think? How'd we come out? I mean, it seemed more of the same. A lot of shots, not a lot of goals, but also a lot of possession.
I will say on rewatching it, I was still, for some odd reason, up until the 75th minute when I had to tell myself, like, hey, Ben, you know the score. It's fine. Like, I was still nervous. I don't know what it was, but I was pacing when I was watching it. And my wife was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm just nervous. Oh, I was like, well, I know what the score is. I don't know what's going on. It just felt like it was one of those games where it was like old crew, like Porter ball, where it's just like, man, they're going to like get a late one. We're going to be totally dominant and we're going to tie or something stupid because, Bernadeschi and like they
this
can
is 100. This is 100% the not getting the shots on goal because typically at this point in the game, I mean, I'm just saying this, but we've got a couple goals by now.
Yeah,
and I just felt like less confident in our ability to close.
I don't know
this game. You're going to disagree?
I don't disagree, but I think I don't think it's a confidence, but I think it's a hangover. I mean, like I know a little bit about those.
Oh yeah.
But I think there's a little bit. It would almost be better to have an away game after last week's game to come back in
Agreed.
there because the
hangover
stadium
from
too.
The Hell is Real.
For the Hell is Real game, I think there was a little bit of hangover, and one guy that I thought had a big hangover was probably Rossi. No, Morris. Sorry, Morris looked a little bit sloppy. He was not the player he was a week ago. A little bit of a hangover. The crowd had a little bit of hangover. It wasn't the same energy. It's a big drop off. Obviously, playing the leaders and rivals to go play the crappiest team in the league, pretty much. But there was a whole different energy. You kind of felt that on the field a little bit too. So it's like that little edge off.
But also when you're playing a team that doesn't have confidence and isn't playing that, it's hard to just go out and dominate. I know you think it's easy, but we've all played in games where it's just like, this team's going to be terrible. Like 2 weeks ago, even in our on our team, like the team wasn't that good, but we only won by 1, or last week. And then like we play the league leaders and we win by 3. It's like you're way more sharper when the other team's sharp, but it was clear that Toronto was flat. Like they are terrible. And I think it was hard for us to really get going when it's just the general like feel of the game was just like flat. I mean,
that makes sense.
It's like a really weird dynamic, and there's no excuse for it. I mean, some of the guys
you run faster in a race, right? Like you need competition, right? That makes sense.
I don't know. It just seems like a lot of those teams play. It's like we should have gone out there and smashed them. I was totally convinced it was going to be 4-0. And to that point, we did have 31 shots, and we probably should have won like 5-0. But
yeah,
I was going to say, do you think any other game this year we've had 20 shots? Like,
yeah, maybe one or two.
Felt like a lot. Felt like a lot.
And I think the second half we had more possession.
If that was
I don't
possible.
have it in front of me, but I think it was like 65% possession in the second half. It felt very dominant. We were still pushing, still trying to get the second goal. Even towards the end of the game, where it's like they could have been just trying to kill off the game.
No, they were.
It felt like we were still pushing and going
100%.
So I think a little bit of like what Ben is saying is true. Is that we definitely weren't as sharp as we could be. But I'm going to throw something out there. Like I really think throwing Rossi into this lineup has kicked everybody off just a notch.
Agreed. Yeah,
and
the flow.
I think it's just a little bit off. I thought he played really well. It's not a bad thing. I really do think this team will be more dangerous with Rossi than it ever was with Zelrayan.
Wow.
I think Rossi's a better player. I think he's more
fits the system better.
He fits the system better. I don't want to say complete player, but I think right now you are seeing growing pains with some of the players trying to fit in around and like really match what he's doing and like where he fits in well. The beginning of the Cincy game, we had Matan in there.
Yeah.
Good call.
And it was a lot of like what we were used to. In this game, it wasn't that.
Same thing with Camacho in the back. I felt the same. I felt the same thing. I know they're good players.
Oh yeah,
I completely agree with you.
And it's back to what Mars was saying at the beginning of this is like this team is so good and there's so much depth to it. We are just watching the growing happen with Camacho, with Sawatsky, with Matan and Rossi and Gressel and Yaw playing better. And I didn't say it earlier when we were talking about the outside backs, Gressel and Yaw, but Yaw, it's an embarrassment of riches when you have Yaw on one side screaming that he's wide open and you're passing the ball to Julian Gressel on the right.
Yeah, MLS with like assisted leader.
Yeah, like that's a wonderful problem to have.
Yeah, and even more so to your point, most of the guys that come in, the first game, Amundsen looked awful. First game, Gressel came in, did not impress anybody. Chaburko did look very bad, so hopefully that's a turnaround.
Yeah.
He looked better when he came out of Cincy. So
He's good.
There's been a tendency with people coming into this team have to learn the system. And we had a lot of growing pains, like a little bit in the start too. And I think that's a part of it. It's a very little bit of unique way of playing. It's a little different way of playing. And I hope that means that they will settle in. And to your point, the depth. Wow. The depth. Now we can go over it after the game here, but
Credit to Jim Curtin. He was the first one to shout it out after we lost our first game.
In the very game.
To I think wasn't that like 4-2
It was
or
4-1.
4-1.
Yeah.
But in the post game,
they're going to be great. It's like, okay, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
No, but he's getting credit now. He's
Yeah.
still getting credit for that backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
Him and Bradley.
I saved the team. Okay, Jim, take it easy.
Yeah. Jim
Bradley's
called
like
it.
6 years later.
Bradley saved the team. Thank you to both of you. Okay, so I don't know. Aiden, you said he seemed a little hungover. Is he even 21? He did. He had a good look.
Yeah, it was an 8.0 rating. I didn't really see that. I did think the spacing
he had a
with Nagbe and Morris was weird.
Second minute that was batted wide, but that was on. Then he had one on frame at least.
Yeah, burn.
And it was left-footed.
That was actually a really good strike. I saw them very much like right next to each other, like closer and not stagnant like they used to be. And I thought the spacing was just a little bit off. And that also might have been because everything was a little off, especially with Camacho and Rossi.
I still think the difference maker in this team that like changes it from a 4-0 game to a 1-2-0 is Ramirez.
Yeah.
I think if his game is on, he's adding 1 to 2 goals a game.
Yeah.
And
he has, and it's okay. He put himself in the right positions. He got in the right positions. He just didn't capitalize. So it's like,
right.
I don't think it was just like he had a bad game. He had a good game. He was put in the right spots. He just didn't have that like final like little bit.
But when we're talking about that, Russell Rowe come in 2 games in a row and put the ball back in the net.
Dude, let's talk about that. And fair play to Nancy for getting him and Matan on at 70 minutes. Like getting him an actual good run in.
So let's talk subs. Also, it looks like, I guess like I said, I had it muted. Toronto sub somebody right
at half.
Right at the half.
Yeah, he came on.
Changed their striker.
For Sapong, right? And
I thought their striker was actually pretty good, but man.
They did a couple more around 60, one at 57, the other
that Cassius guy they brought on caused us troubles. The guy was quick.
Yeah, and Mabika is the 6'5", 6'6" defender.
They brought on Victor Vasquez. Wasn't he like awesome?
Barcelona, LAFC.
Yeah.
Or LA Galaxy, maybe.
Yeah, it's one of the LAs because they did say they're like he played alongside Messi. I'm like, okay, cool. Nice show.
Yeah, but he
was good, and I totally forgot they had Osario. Osario is also like awesome and plays for the Canadian national team, and he was like a didn't even realize he was on the field.
36, but
yeah,
he looked old.
Yeah,
yeah, good call.
Yeah,
like in his play, he just looked slow.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, I thought you meant like crow's feet or something like that. Okay, so
receding hairline.
Then we had so I'll fast forward to what you guys were talking about. 70th minute, Matan on for Rossi, and Jason Russell Rowe on for Ramirez.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to see. Yeah, nice to see the 70th minute subs. It's
Man,
rarity.
they played great.
They did.
They came on and played really good.
Sure did.
I mean, when Matan gets on the ball, he does Matan things. It was just, it felt like we were playing with more of like a number 10 this time. Like he was dropping in and getting the ball and like progressing it. He did really well.
As we've said about Rossi, I mean, I think he's playing well, but I don't think he made a huge, other than the goal, of course, I don't think he made like a huge material difference in the time that he was on the field. Right. So having a change of pace was fine. It certainly wasn't a concession. And I think it made sense to.
And it was at 70 minutes.
Yeah,
and we were only up 1-0.
You have to remember he's still getting into full game fitness.
100%.
Right.
Rossi.
Yeah,
he's going to be awesome. But Nancy comes in, he makes a sub at 70. We're only up 1-0, so it's not like we're up 3-0, and he's just like, all right, cool, now you guys can get your legs. Like he made a tactical change, he did it, and that's something we haven't seen all season, right? Or even since he's been the coach.
I don't think we've spent a lot of time at 1-0.
We had 6 subs. Can you have 6 subs?
You could roll your eyes.
We spent like 68 minutes of this game.
Yeah.
They had a concussion. They had a concussion extra sub, so we got an extra sub.
Oh, that's how that works.
Good call. I just saw that we.
That's 6. Yeah,
I thought it was.
I saw somebody on Twitter had mentioned it, and
so
O'Neill came off
both
with
teams?
concussion symptoms or whatever, and since they used an extra,
I saw
sub
that
to
guy.
get
He
him
definitely.
off the field, we got an
I
extra
saw
one.
he had a concussion from Chicago.
You're the concussion king.
You
can sense the concussion. It's like your Avenger power.
No, I'm just saying it was easy
like
to
the
see.
worst power ever.
I have a failed vasectomy. That's the worst power.
That's the worst power.
Yeah.
Maybe you're so powerful that you just overcame it.
Yeah.
Or
pun intended.
Overcome it.
Okay, so and then what we had? They had another one at 81. Thompson in for Slovenia.
We had a triple sub.
We did?
Yeah.
We did.
Max, Farsi, and Zawadzki.
At 85. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk about those. Farsi for Gressel is easy like for like. Arvston for Yaboa is like for like, yeah?
No.
Not really.
No. That's the thing that
I think Arvston's technically a striker.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
okay,
he hasn't been playing that role. with us, but I
Okay.
think that's
And
his natural
Zawatsky for
position.
Morris, which is more of a like for like. So
well, yeah, and I guess that's the one I wanted to talk about was just that we were putting Zawatsky in the midfield again, which is he hasn't been there in a while, right?
yeah,
Maybe shifted there with some other subs in past games, but
which is fine. But also, Nancy always talks about like, oh, we're going to do street smarts, and it's like, all right, you took off Yeboah, who isn't the best at defense, but he's definitely better than Max. Max is like a pure forward, like he's not a wing back or something like that.
All three of those subs came on and got involved in the game.
It was
Yes.
good. They were all good. I'll tell you what,
And looked
Max
good doing it. Yeah,
Max was pretty much Ronaldo, step over monster. Like every time he got to the ball, he's a left-footed step over monster. He would just like do like 3 step overs, and
It worked.
it worked. He burned the guy both times, and I was like, man, it looked great. I was like super impressed with that. Even on rewatch, every time he got the ball, he was like, I'm gonna make my stamp on this because he's like what 6th in line on the strikers, and he's still awesome. It's just
From what you just said, my favorite thing was that he did it 3 times and it was successful both times.
Listen, 100% of the time it works 70% of the time.
Yeah, there you go. But isn't it great though? I mean, we're putting in 5 guys, and they're all impact players that can come in and change a game and have an impact on it. I just ignored the last sub, but that's a whole different story.
so this is and this is when I made my note about the depth was, and I jumped to it earlier, but it was great to see all these guys come in and just feel like reinvigorated and not like you're making some kind of concession like, oh, these guys are tired. Who do we have that we can bring in to, get us through the end of this game? I mean, they were strong.
Another
presence.
positive piece.
Yeah.
And also, again, Russell Rowe against his old team.
I love it. You love to see it.
Let's talk about the goal.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody mentioned 50-yard passes earlier to Bernadeschi. Does Schulte get an assist on this?
Absolutely.
Yes, he
Sure did.
does.
Dude,
Yeah.
a Cappy to a Brava. Ooh. It looked better in a tweet.
So Hawes, talk through this goal.
So 89th minute, Schulte plays the ball over the top down the middle of the field. Jason Russell Rowe gets behind Bradley and Mabika, brings the ball down off his chest, takes one touch with his left and shoots with his right.
Awesome.
Kind of a little bit of a deflection, I think, off a defender, but great goal.
No, it's
I
hold up.
don't think
he held
it
off
changed
that.
the direction of the. I mean, it wasn't as if that deflection off the defender changed like where the ball was going or anything. Yeah.
He did what Sapong should have done in the first 4 minutes of the game.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Right.
So, which made the biggest difference.
The only thing Schulte haven't done now in his crew career is scoring a goal. Like Will Hesper.
It's coming. Everybody else has scored.
Yeah.
And at that point, I mean,
He's young.
there was 5 minutes of stoppage time after that, and Toronto looked like
They were done.
Oh, they were done.
They were all done.
Yeah,
they were
toast.
done. Like they might as well. Have had
I
lawn
felt like they
chairs
were
out
done
there.
before that. I made a mental note around 80 minutes, and I was like, I think Toronto's literally playing for the 1-0 loss. They're just like, dude, just don't let them score another, please. And when we did, they're like, just don't let them. Ironically, when we scored, I had hope that we would get to my 4-0 score line. I still thought, I was like, we're going to get this because they're done. And I guarantee, I'm sitting here looking at Max, and Max is running at people. And I was like, dude, he wants to score. Matan wants to score. And sure enough, they did in that last 5 minutes, like almost put a couple away. And I was like, oh, man. But I will say, Molino came on at 89. We score. Molino immediately goes on for Cucho, right? I actually think that's not a bad. I don't think that was a bad sub. He played decent.
No, it is.
No,
it
for
is.
Cucho was done.
More is
I don't care. There's no reason to put him on the field.
I mean, maybe you put
Evan
Chaburko
Bush
on.
or something as a forward or
A second
Chaburko,
goal.
The trade window is closed. There's no value in it.
Chaburko or something like that, so you can get some more touches on the ball. I don't care where he plays.
Save him. He's going to get injured. Trade him.
Maybe that's what they were trying to do.
That's it. No,
There's gotta be a
putting him on
clause
the
in his
field, he's going to
contract.
get injured.
When you buy a car, there's like a lemon.
He looked fine.
I was going to talk about cars.
The
I was
lemon
going to
law?
say you have a car and you're currently spending
Shouldn't that be in a contract?
somewhere around $700,000 a year for it. It's Saturday night. Take it for a drive. You can't have that thing marked in the garage.
Yeah, and then it breaks down every 3 times you try and drive.
Yeah, it's a Harley.
Humiliated on the side of the road.
Things of Lamborghini or
all
Tesla.
right. Well, I tried to throw Molino a bone. Kev, if you're out there, I tried, but no dice, homie.
I thought he looked fine in the limited time he was on the field.
Fine, but I was just talking about our depth and people that can come in and make an impact. And I look at the bench, and there's only 2 people I'm looking at here, and I'm saying they won't do anything for us.
Honestly, I think Traburko coming in for Amundsen would have should have happened. Amundsen was on yellow.
And he will.
I was fine not mentioning Kevin Molino coming into the game until Ben had to bring it up.
Hey, man.
And, compliment how well he played.
He did. I watched it again. He didn't play bad.
That's fine.
He didn't have a bicycle goal, but he got on the ball.
He didn't miss a goal right in front of the goal. He didn't just blatantly miss it.
I'm not entirely sure.
Hit it off the post upper 90 when somebody plays it.
He took that
to
free
you.
kick, didn't he? It was a pass, but he took the free kick.
Possibly.
There was.
Yeah.
Rewatching the game, you could very audibly hear his Bradley sucks chants at 90 plus 5.
He did say something at the very end, somewhere around the Nordic. He turned around and was talking to them.
Hamstring popping.
No, it was for the south side. He got into it with a couple of guys on the south side.
Man, fair play to the fans if you're able to get into a player's head. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
Apparently, one part of that article, one fan took it too far.
Yeah, probably
100%.
Probably
They
a little
took it too far. We didn't throw anything at him, so that's
no. But they tried to get a picture with him, and then made an obscene gesture when he took the picture with him, and then he turned around and went back and talked to him, hey, that's not cool.
Yeah.
It
was a teenager. They got a picture with him, and Risey took the picture. He flipped him off.
Hey, and to end the game, obviously, we talked about hangovers. It might have been the worst rendition of Wise Men Say I have ever heard in my life. There was 3 different starts to it. Wow, it was
very off.
Yeah, it was so bad. And the other thing, while we're at it, they played the band music, but they play a recording of the band, and they didn't have the band playing it. That didn't work.
That's not cool.
It didn't work. It wasn't.
They should just have someone they sing the national anthem. Just do sing every single time.
I would say in this one though, it's one of those you have to play the Canadian first. And by the way, the Canadian rendition was really good.
Was in French, wasn't it? Which is also French. That's another nod. I heard that and they were that's really funny.
Yeah, it was kind of nice. And then to Toronto, yeah,
Nazi.
And there was Montreal, and then I guess that's what I had to say.
So next time you hear a horrible sounding chant like that, or not a chant, but when they're singing it and they're really feeling it, and it's off time or whatever, record it and we could use it as a jingle.
Yeah,
there we go.
Well, it was on the broadcast, so
perfect.
You can pull it up and witness it. It's
Apple won't sue us. It will not be an issue. It'll be totally
I guess we're
smooth.
just going to sit here and sway back and forth while these people don't know how to.
Well, why can't they figure out one way to somebody actually at least kick it off? It was kind of I don't know.
You mean like a jackhammer?
Okay, so let's take a break. When we come back, are we doing a crew 2?
I'll double check, although it wasn't so hot.
It wasn't good.
Maybe we shouldn't talk about it.
I'll hit Bird. If there is, it'll be here.
No, you got to talk about
if
it.
Not,
no. How'd you know?
I'll hit up Bird.
Hey guys, thanks for having me again. This Sunday, the Crew 2 went down to Orlando to try and clinch their playoff berth with a victory. Well, they did not do that. They didn't win. They lost 4-1 in a game that included a red card for us early on the second half, a missed penalty by us, and a converted penalty by them. Fortunately for us, results elsewhere in the league have guaranteed that we will be on the playoffs, so now we play to guarantee home games during those times. And as far as the game went, our midfield looked very tired. I'm not sure why. Maybe they take the bus down to Florida instead of flying, which would account for some of it. But anyway, when we can't dominate the middle third of the field, the crew 2 tends to struggle. And we were making too many mistakes in the middle in this game to really guarantee a win. And two first teamers played for the Cappies against Orlando. Isaiah Parented, who was incredible against FCC2 the game before this one, and he was just okay against Orlando. He made a couple of good passes, but did not have the dominating performance I've come to expect from him. In the defense, Philip Quentin played better than the scoreline gives him credit for. He had a couple of key stops, a goal line save, and even had a box-to-box run that ended up on a blocked cross. So, all in all, I think Quentin was the better of the two first teamers last night. It is important that these two high potential guys keep getting time, and I expect them to dominate again by next game. So I'm glad to see them play anyway. And I thought that Bahui, which I need a guide to how to pronounce his name, really, who has only been with the team for 2 weeks, came in well as a sub. Very excited about him as a prospect. He shows great vision and really good with the ball on his feet. But talking about new players, there's some hot gossip in the Crew 2 online sphere, the bustling Crew 2 online sphere. According to Spanish newspapers, the Crew has signed Ecuadorian international and former Barcelona U19 center back Diego Almeida. While we haven't heard anything from the club on this, but several articles from reputable sources have been written about it, and there's some about on Twitter as well. I don't know much about the guy, except that he was brought up in the Barcelona academy system since he was a kid, and that he was also on PSG's radar to be hired as their new center back. He also has now followed every single Crew 2 player on Instagram, which shows a level of resourcefulness and interest unmatched, since there has never been an updated roster for the team, so he probably had to research a lot. If these rumors turn out to be true, I think it could be a huge signing. At 17 or 16, he was already making appearances for the Ecuadorian national team, and having been brought up in the Barcelona academy and have featured for Barcelona's version of the Crew 2, I think that he's a guy who can come in and make a direct impact, and is possibly a signing that is being eyed to make a quick transition to the first team. Well, next up, the Crew 2 goes to Miami to play against a Miami 2 team that has already been eliminated from playoff contention. And I think that we return to good form then. Thank you so much for having me, and let's go Crew.
Oh, and I almost forgot. I got to give a huge shout out to Mr. Carr, or Swan Dad on Twitter. As a fellow Birdman and Cappy fan, he and his daughter went to the game. They looked like they tailgated. They made posters. They had hard add-ons. And most importantly, they even made a custom shirt. But most importantly, they were the loudest fans in the stadium. It was surreal to be watching the game on the broadcast and hearing him and his daughter cheering on. And they got thanks from both Marco Micheletto and Lauren Courtois after the game. And they're very deserving. So it's so cool to see this kind of support for the Crew 2, even in away games now. So yeah, good work, Swan family.
Tables.
All right, we're back. Yeah, let's talk about the table. Before we get into the predictions, it's hard not to notice that we're in, somehow fifth place in the East. Is that right? Fifth place in the East, but just a point behind 4, 3, and 2. And in the Supporters Shield race, we're also 2 points behind the second place team. And of course, Cincinnati, they do have 11 points on us in first place in both standings. But I don't know. This kind of changes the
12 points.
Oh, it's 12.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But the rest I think is pretty crazy. Like And Nashville too is below us now, and they were in second place like 2 weeks ago or something. So it's just a really tight top of the table. I think that I'm glad that we are where we are. Right? I mean, we're performing well. I think we're on the way up, or at least maintaining our position. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, what are we? I mean, just outside the line is 30 points, so we're 12 points ahead in playoffs. So it looks like we're going to make the playoffs, which is, I mean, it's hard to think that last year we didn't make the playoffs, and this year it just seems like we're the most fun to watch, and we're crushing teams and stuff like that. So, I mean, if we're 4 games outside of that, I mean, if we were in the West, we'd be 2 points, behind first place. We'd be second place. So, I mean, it's kind of awesome that it's so congested in there. And it just, I mean, there's still
Philly and New England have a game in hand.
Correct.
To be fair, second and third place. They've only played 24.
Do we play either of them between?
I think we have another match against Philly, right? Home match because we played them away.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we might be.
I don't know when.
We might be playing both, actually.
Yeah, I would assume. I'd have to double check.
We're done with Cincy. Let's see.
We play New England. Then we play Philly.
We play Orlando. We play Orlando here.
See,
September 16th.
Yeah, but
Orlando,
I read something
Chicago,
where I think we have the, coming out of the Leagues Cup, we have the hardest schedule per whatever, however they deem that, or whatever. I mean, we also are in the East, so that is partial to that.
That's a lot of it. I mean, but we do play Philadelphia, Atlanta, New England.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we played Montreal twice.
Right.
We have 12 games left. Is it 37 games in the season?
We got
34.
I see 10.
9 games.
I think
nine
nine games left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was 10 before Saturday.
And we talked about the East again.
3 away in a row.
Yeah, let's get into that. That's going to be rough. And we're traveling I think 4,440.
If they were driving
6 miles.
If they were driving from Ben's house, which we know is not law.com because he did not get the question right last week about the distance to the Hell is Real sign.
Still working on that app. How far am I away from
somehow
that
though
sign
you
at all
calculated
times?
These miles right? It would be 4,400 and what was it, 42 or something? Yeah, 46. If you drive around the stadium. So yeah, it's a lot of travel. And it's 3 games in
2 weeks, essentially.
Yeah, because the let's see, what is it?
Wednesday, Saturday.
Houston to Montreal, and then Orlando is 2 weeks later. I don't know if you can really
international travelers is what our team is.
They're going to be home for 12 days.
You don't know that. No one knows that.
They won't be traveling for 12 days.
Can I just literally make a correction for him right now? The distance that we're going to be flying will be 2,400 miles.
Disagree.
Half of it.
I'm going to double
2,400 miles.
I'm going to double
over 2 weeks. This is like most business travelers.
All right, I'm going to asthecrowflies.com.
Is that the website you built?
Asoldcrowflies.com.
It's just,
it's got to be more than that from Montreal to Orlando.
Montreal's not that far away. And you think we're not coming back?
That's what I'm saying. Go there and back.
Oh, good Lord.
So double it, and all of a sudden, Ben's
fine. 4,800. You're wrong.
Cut it in half and double it.
It's got to be
asinine.
Cut it in half and double it.
All right, we're switching this to our math podcast, Mathcast.
I'm not counting the return trip where you're doing nothing but sleeping.
Where do you think they're doing?
Where do I think they're doing?
Ben thinks they're just hanging out in Montreal down the aisle. He thinks they're doing like burpees to and from the game. 4,400 miles of burpees.
All right. This is where we would insert our predictions jingle, but since we don't have it, we'll just do it.
What is it? It's what's that song?
Why don't you get a prediction? The
Right.
Offspring.
Okay. All right, let's reset. So we talked about it a little bit. We are 5th in the East. Where is Houston sitting, Haas? Or no, I'm sorry, I got ahead of us. Let's go through the results from last week.
Yeah, I will do that.
Somebody get it right.
And somebody did have it right. So this is the funny thing.
Did it make an impact in the table though?
It kind of does.
It did for me.
It kind
It
of.
did. He came a lot closer to me.
So you're not last.
So we were talking about earlier in the podcast that we were having a lead 1-0 for like 68 minutes or something like that. 1-0. And then
that's right.
I'm watching there. I'm still a little nervous. I'm sitting at the stadium and my phone goes off. So I look at it and then somebody writes 10 minutes ... for us to actually win a game 1-0, Trey.
Yep.
Okay.
So I knew in that moment that either we're going to let one in or we're going to score one.
Yes.
So luckily we did score one. And I did call it last week that I said Haas he's going to have his moment because he's the gambler. Any gambler has his day.
It's the gambler.
And Haas had the right prediction of 2-0.
Hostile.
So what that means with Haas getting 3 points is there no change in the lead.
Yes,
So-
right. He was so far in last place that it did not change anything.
But we have 2 people still with an all-time world record high of 18 points. Ben ahead of Mars in alphabetical order. And me
Nice.
still in the second place
First
on
name.
14 points. But look at this, coming up from the, rear, I guess.
The forgotten caboose. Yes.
Yeah, just 1 point behind Trey now is Haas on 11 points.
Wow.
He's back in it, boys. He's back in it.
It's all
I'm
over,
alive.
He gets an Oz tattoo when he wins it.
all over me.
Yeah.
By the way, I want to
Haas.
say that we predicted so far this season that we would have 66 points, and we have 42 points, which is 64% accuracy, which
Is a D.
is all right.
Yeah, it's a D.
Which is a D. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
D's get degrees.
Okay.
Do they? Is it C's
All right.
get degrees?
All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
D's next games.
Is it 2 of them? Isn't it?
2 of them?
It is.
All right. Houston. Haas, where's Houston in the table?
They
Houston is in
are 5th
Texas.
place in the West. 5th place in the
How
West
many
with 35 points.
How many?
As the crow flies? I'm not cutting any of this. This is
They have
Welcome
10
on,
wins,
Buttercup.
10 losses, and 5 draws. They're coming off 3 pretty good wins.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
won over the weekend 3-0 over Salt Lake.
Salt Lake's
They
awesome.
won before that 3-1 against Salt Lake in the
Cup.
Open Cup. And then 5-0 against
They just
Portland.
keep playing Salt Lake.
Just beating them down.
The
Yeah.
record against Salt Lake is 10-6.
But I have seen Houston a couple of times now. This is a good team.
Oh, they're awesome.
Yeah, they are.
I'd put them in
Yeah,
the top.
Ache's playing well.
Top 5 teams in the league. They're awesome. And it's where our dude went, our tour. He's playing next to Ache.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's a
He helped with their last goal in
Yeah.
that game against Salt Lake.
No hate there.
no, none.
Absolutely none.
But then there's Ache, so I mean,
And Herrera has 8 assists. He's
he
good.
is good.
Yeah,
He is good,
he is.
but still don't like him.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, he's fine.
All right.
All right, who's first? What do we got?
So they are 8-2-2 at home.
Sorry, I'm just like thinking of jokes. Like I gotta refocus here.
986 miles.
Can't spell hate without Ache. Okay, let's.
Can't spell Houston
Ocho?
without Ache.
That's the Ache. The Houston hate.
Houston hate.
Let's start with Ben on this one. What do you think?
I am going. I'm going with a 2-2 draw.
Okay.
I think they're good. I think they're really good. I mean, 3-0, 3-1. I mean, Portland doesn't count because they're not really a team. 5-0. They've had a couple 2-2 draws.
Yeah, who would lose to Portland? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, boy.
It's not fair they played Salt Lake twice.
Yeah.
Mort, what about you?
He kind of had my result, but because I'm not a far weather fan, I say 2-3, submitting we winning 3-2.
Oh.
Interesting way of saying that.
I know.
I will point out,
Confusing.
I wanted to say this earlier, but we did not win 6-0 or whatever you predicted last week.
I was early in the game. I was hoping for it.
Yeah.
I was hoping for 6-0 every game.
You know, if I could point to one thing that led to me not getting the prediction right last week, it would be the outline of the goal for Ramirez. And, you know, had I done that, it could have been 3-0. It could have been 6-0.
You got to think about that. You probably didn't realize the goal was going to be regular size and not Gigundo size.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Everything is bigger in Texas, so I think we'll see a lot of goals. Let's go to Trey.
We are going to go Crew 3-1.
Wow. They have lost at home. They've lost a couple times at home.
As recently as
Charlotte.
July 12th against Minnesota, 3-0.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, they're kind of all over the place.
We also
probably
lost to
gonna-
Minnesota.
Well,
It's also going to be
Yeah,
about like
kinda.
3,000 degrees down there, by the way. Don't forget that.
it is Texas. Oh, they played Salt Lake twice because one was an Open Cup game.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I was just joking. I was just
Okay.
hoping that when you mentioned the third game, you were going to say Salt Lake again, and then I would have fallen out of my chair.
They play. Yeah.
I was just hoping to hear that, and then I couldn't stop laughing. Haas, what's the score going to be?
2-0 Crew.
2-0. He's letting it
That'll
ride.
be the third
gambler.
straight.
Back to the honey hole.
Yeah, he knows when to hold him. He knows when to.
It
pull
worked
him.
for me once. Now it's my only.
That's all he knows.
Yeah.
He's just an
for the
OAR
rest-
song. That's what he is.
Okay.
I will note that it didn't work for you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times before that. But okay.
That was before we had
5 for
the
2-0.
depth that we have now.
Yeah, that'll be our third straight shutout. I think that would be if we get another shutout. That is extremely impressive considering our record for and how we play and stuff like that.
Mars, you think 1-0?
No, I don't. I don't. I think it will be a 1-goal win. The score will be 2-2.
2-1. Jinx. I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say 2-1. Should have wrote it down.
Okay.
Let's roll straight into Montreal because we're not going to do another podcast, right? Ever again?
No,
We're going to be canceled.
No,
we're
we
not going to do one before that game. Montreal is
currently
bad, right?
No.
Currently 8th with 35 points. So same amount of points as Houston. 11 wins, 12 losses, 2 draws, and they are 9-3-0.
Are they
at
above
home.
or below
9-3.
Just below.
DC?
They beat New England.
DC's in 10th.
And they just beat New England. At
Okay.
home.
It'd be Nancy's great return.
That's a big deal. It's going to be a
Camacho's.
big deal. Yeah. I'm assuming
Man.
Camacho
They finished
hasn't
second.
sold
They
us
finished
out.
second in the East last year, didn't they?
Yeah,
Montreal.
that's because they had a great coach.
Yeah.
Man.
Took them.
And a lot better team. They had Kai Kamara last year.
Yeah, and Jordy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go in reverse order. I'm going to say 2-1
Oh, man, that's what I
for
was
this
gonna say.
game.
Is that what Trey was going to say?
Okay.
Okay.
Well, then the table won't change like it didn't this past week. Let's go continue reverse order. Haas, Montreal, Columbus, September 2nd.
2-0.
I'm going, 2-0. 2-0
Wow.
Crew. That's all they do now.
Doubling down.
This is the gambler. It's like, I found out the average score of all the games in MLS
just
is
can't
2-0.
quit you.
So if I bet that every time,
It worked once.
It's linked to my bank account. I don't even see it. All right, who's next? Is it Trey?
It's Trey. Man, I know we're moving slow if Ben's moving us along. Trey,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I don't have a
3-1 Crew.
3-1.
3-1.
Is that 2-3-1s?
yeah, that is
Yes.
2-3-1.
Okay, so far we've all
Taking
just
my technique?
we just well, we said that they have the same number of points, right, as Houston.
Right.
Yeah, and we have the same number of points as ourselves.
Mathcast.
Or
I'm gonna be
Numbers.
X'd on Twitter or tweeted on X because I'm going 2-1 Montreal.
okay,
Wow.
I think.
Shame.
No, I
Chip on
I
the
know.
shoulder.
Why do you hate
I-
the Crew?
I don't hope it's
They
going
didn't
to
say
be
c'est
that.
quoi, c'est
Knew
quoi,
it.
or whatever.
It's so much parity in
We-
the MLS, and sooner or later, and I think it's up there on turf again, and we don't play well on
Oh, yeah.
turf.
And they got that stupid bell. That's
Yeah,
the
that's
it's
it.
going to be the
Don't-
bell that sinks us
Don't
for sure.
Yeah,
For whom the bell tolls.
How many bad
they
bells
heard the
are-
bell and they all went to get some
Tacos?
tacos.
Taco
There it is.
Ben's favorite.
It's, yeah,
Ben,
$11.
what's the score? What's the score? $11?
The score is $11 at Taco Bell. Go
That's
Crew.
nothing. Would you have like 4 tacos?
I always get 4 things because I'm a fat boy. Man, we gotta beat Montreal. That's gotta be a thing. I'm gonna say 3-2 Crew.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Is this the first time we play Montreal this year? Did we already
Yes.
say that?
Yes, we play
we
them
play them
again.
Weird.
In
Last game of the season.
last game. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. No. Last regular season.
So, I'll just go ahead right now, since we're talking about it. I'm going to extend my my bet on the non 1-0 result
End
now,
of the postseason.
end of the postseason. And what I was thinking about while we continued to not have a 1-0 result recently was that y'all don't have any skin in this game.
Nope.
I put it out there, and you guys
Yep.
are like, "Oh yeah."
Hey, I said
We'll order the jersey for you, but
I have it in the cart.
it's in the cart.
I made
It's
one.
ready to go.
We're yeah. Full disclosure, we're not buying an Austin jersey. I had my
we have
sister-in-law
something else.
make
We have something
something
else.
silly.
Yeah, we decided not to
Give money to
it's-
anybody.
It's
yeah.
a dozen
Austin.
green eggs that will be shipped to a trusted source in Austin or
So-
California, and we're going to throw those eggs at Anthony Precourt's head.
Mhm.
And
I'm going to give all the hot sauces to Himmel, and he will
Okay.
lose them.
Mars, what do you want then?
A tit for tat.
I got to think about it.
We'll get matching tattoos.
Okay, let's do it.
You want to get a QCP?
My first tattoo.
My first tattoo being Upper 90 Club or Austin tattoo.
Oh, that dude! No.
No, just-
no.
Just get ATX.
Like right here,
Oh man,
like a little Austin teared her up.
Just a green teardrop.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
Austin.
what it is. All right. If I get it right, and there's never a 1-0 result, including the MLS Cup final.
Yes.
You all have to get a green teardrop tattoo.
Do we think
We can get the teardrop wherever,
okay, I'm
right?
I'm getting
No.
I'll
If
get
it
Precourt
happens-
tattooed on my back like it's my name on a jersey.
Okay.
if it happens, do you think
I'll get a snake.
if it happens, do you think it's the first time ever that the Crew have gone an entire season without?
Oh,
I don't know. Hit
what
up
Ben's
Chris
gonna-
DeVille.
We gotta
I
ask.
think,
what
yeah,
Ben's
Chris
gonna-
DeVille.
Ben's gonna
That's a
do.
That's
great
Crystal Hill.
question.
I mean, this is all sullied because we did win 1-0 in the open
Regular
cup.
season, MLS regular
yeah.
season.
Yeah, I can't count that.
Well,
I'd count.
I'm not counting Open Cup.
No, not that Open Cup specifically too.
Yeah, it's just
All right.
not. Yeah,
We'll ask Chris.
I'm looking forward to getting a tattoo. Then
Yeah.
that'll be fun.
Okay.
I didn't agree to any of this on record.
All right.
Yes, you did.
Let's
did.
see what happens. I think hopefully I'll see you guys. I'm going to be in town on Wednesday, so hopefully we can watch the Houston game.
Don't see Mort. I don't want you to meet
And-
Mort in person.
I will if I'm in the same room. As
I'm working really hard on opening my schedule now because let me see here. I had like all this stuff going on.
Is that a five-star binder?
I'm just drawing on a piece of paper right now.
Yeah.
All right. Either way, we will be back in a week. I'm going to be in town on Wednesday, so hopefully I can watch the game with you guys.
Your timing is just awful. You're here when we have an away game. You're in Cincy when we play in Cincy here. This is just. Are you
I'm not in control of my schedule.
Are you a far weather fan?
Or of this episode?
You totally lost control.
I totally lost control. Please just end it. How do I end it? Go Crew.
Go Crew!
Thanks everyone for joining the club. We hope you'll listen next week and every week, even in the off season, to celebrate or commiserate. We'll save you a seat. If you like this podcast, please give us 5 stars and subscribe. You can email us at upper90clubpod@gmail.com. That's upper90clubpod@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at upper90clubpod. Go Crew!
One of my nephews calls it my beef jerky arm.
Let's have him on the pod.